Senator Santorum, let's start with you. Since you're a former politician, you should be able to dissect this changing political landscape. You spotted this shift in the political landscape several years ago, and in fact, you authored a book titled Blue Collar Conservatives, 2014. In 2014. What was it you were seeing, and why do you think Donald Trump was the only other presidential candidate besides you who spotted this trend?
Well, I did write the book back in 2014. I actually wrote it based on my campaign in 2012. When I was campaigning for the nomination, I think I visited over 50 manufacturing facilities, not just in Iowa, but all over the country, and had a economic policy really focused on manufacturing, focused on helping the American worker. Really was really a worker-centric type of campaign. And it was the reason I did as well as I did. I know others felt there were other reasons, but I know from looking at our data, that's why we were getting the folks who ended up voting for Donald Trump this time. We were getting them in the last primary cycle, and I felt it was important that we look at who the Republican Party really is. The Republican Party isn't the same Republican Party than when I started to get involved in politics when I was in college in the 1980s. No, I mean it is very much a blue collar, not a corporate suburban country club anymore. Those voters, as you look at every suburban area in the United States, have all gone blue. It is a more rural, it is a small town, and it is a blue collar type of constituency. But the Republican Party leadership has never recognized that. Our philosophy has never understood that these are the folks that are counting on us to maintain not just an economy that works for them, but also a culture that works for them and a security posture that works for them. So anyway, I wrote this book called Blue Collar Conservative, and the story I'll tell is that about 3 months after I wrote it, I got a call from Trump, and he said he wanted to see me, and when I was in New York, if I could drop by, so about a month or so later, I happened to be in New York, and I arranged to come up to him, and I walked into his office up in the tower, and I walked in the door, and he's sitting behind his desk holding a copy of my book. And he's waving that book, and before he said anything, he just said, I read your book. And I said, the hell you read my book? And he said, no, I really read your book. It's a great book. So you know this is real. And I said, you didn't read my book. He said, no, I really read your book. And so I decided, look, I'm going to test him. So I did. And so I asked him certain things. There's a fictional family in the book. And so I asked him the name of the fictional family in the book. He knew the fictional family's name of the book. Now, whether someone did Cliff Notes for him, I don't know. And maybe he just studied them well. But here's what really impressed me, that he read the book. He then began to talk about, he said, this is the message that we need to communicate. He said, working men and women in this country are hurting. America is really not giving them the opportunities that they need. And we had a 15-minute discussion. And during that time, he said that he was thinking about running for president, which I, of course, completely discounted. So I'm not all that wise. No, this is, from my perspective, where Donald Trump was coming from. This is something that he believed in, something he's understood, and something that is really at the core of who he is and why he wants to be president.
Great.